Sunrise paints the chrome a rosy hue at Sam Pride's place, where dreams come true. The Garage Mahal, a legend in the town, where classic engines rumble up and down. Kiwanis folks are gathering around the door for bag lunches and so much more. Chick-fil-A aroma fills the air, a tasty meeting beyond compare. Kiwanis at the Garage Mahal, a sight to see, helping kids and community wild and free. Beneath the vintage hood, a meeting's call, service and friendship standing tall. From polished fenders to a helping hand, the best of folks in all the land. Sam's red Cadillac, gleaming bright, reflects the faces bathed in morning light. The smell of chicken and waffle fries, so neat, a lunchtime gathering can't be beat. They talk of fundraisers and projects planned, with hearts of service close at hand. Kiwanis at the Garage Mahal, a sight to see, helping kids and community wild and free. Beneath the vintage hood, a meeting's call, service and friendship standing tall. From polished fenders to a helping hand, the best of folks in all the land. Old timers share a story with a knowing grin of helping hands where troubles used to spin. A silent auction for a worthy cause, raising funds without a single pause. Sam's got a passion for the cars he keeps, and Kiwanis' passion runs just as deep. Kiwanis at the Garage Mahal, side to side.
All this stuff I collected. Over there up on the top shelf, there's the milk cartons, 2 wooden cartons. One of them is from Connect, and the other one is from Dutch Made. And Dutch Made is from my hometown, Indianapolis, and I bought that stuff down here. It's just a coincidence that I've got one from down here and one from my hometown. And I got that from a lady over on Coca-Cola Boulevard. She was thinking about building a log cabin, and she wanted to furnish it with that, and her finances fell through, so she sold it to me at a good price. So I got all those things on that from one person. And what else? Oh, and the Cokes and the Pepsis are obviously all original, and that 8-pack Pepsi carton on top of the Pepsi cooler. For those youngsters of you, the 16-ounce Pepsi started in the 60s. And so those are all original from that, and they're glass, and that 8-pack weighs about 20 pounds of this glass. And
The trophies, you got trophies here.
pardon?
Said you have trophies here.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, and all these trophies here came from car shows, and I've given a bunch away. I used to have neighbors that had teenage kids, and I'd give them the trophies because then I didn't have to dust them. So, but anyway, last and then there's a church up here called River Church on Mahaffey Road, and I befriended them, or they befriended me, or whatever, and I helped them do a car show last September, and I just donated, I think, 9 or 10 trophies for them, so saving some money, whatever. But yeah, at this point in time, you know, they're dust collectors, and I'm running out of space. So, but see, that one in the middle there. Downtown, the city had a car show on Broadway, on Broad Street, 2 years ago, and I thought it was just a display, and went down there and I took the Cadillac, and it turned out to be a judged show, and they announced I was a winner. That trophy's 4.5 feet tall, and it barely fit in the back seat. Anyway, and along with it came $500 in cash. So I was hoping they'd have a show again the next year, but they didn't. No budget, but anyway. So, and then the Cadillac also. The Cadillac is my show pony. It's I took it to a show up in McDonough, and Shaquille O'Neal was the one of the sponsors. It was with the Sheriff's Club, with the Sheriff's Department. It was a fundraiser for the Sheriff's Boys Home, and there was about 300 cars or so. And Shaq, he's just a big kid, and he was joking around all the time. He had just had hip surgery, had hip replacement, and he's walking with a cane. And for those of you who don't know, he and Charles Barkley are real good friends, and they rag on each other all the time. And he was telling the assembled masses, he said, yeah, I just had my hip replaced, and the doctor told me he took all the fat out of Barkley's belly and gave me a Barkley ass lift. And then later he got Barkley on his cell phone and called him, and he had the crowd. He said, all right, when I count to 3, I want everybody to say, Barkley sucks. So 1, 2, 3, Barkley sucks. And he's laughing the whole time. But at the end of the show, their trophies were autographed basketballs in a case. And they gave out 25 of them. And I was getting ready to pack up and go, and they said, and the grand prize winner is Sam Pride in his '59 Cadillac. And he said, Shaq is going to give you $5,000. And Shaq immediately leaned over to me and says, listen, I'm not going to give you $5,000 in cash in front of this crowd. You might not get home with it. So he said, I'll send you a check. He was good for it. The next week I got a $5,000 bill from my dentist. So it all worked out. So, but the cars out there, the one on the far end is an Edsel. There are people here who have never heard of Edsel. Edsel was, now you're not one of them. Edsel was Henry Ford's son's name, and it was the biggest flop in U.S. automotive history. It only lasted 2 years and about 3 months, 58, 59, and they closed it down in 60. People didn't like it. It had some mechanical issues. The main thing is the front grille is really in the shape of a horse collar for a plow horse, and that was one of the things that people didn't like about it. The first year it had floating gauges, and they couldn't keep them working. It also had the push button transmission that was in the center of the steering wheel, and they couldn't keep it working. And also the Ford did not build an Edsel plant. He just closed the Ford line down and built them with the Ford workers. And Wikipedia says a lot of those workers felt that was challenging their job. They might lose their job if Edsel does well or whatever, but and would sabotage the car on the assembly line, and then leave a nut out here, a bolt off there, whatever. And again, Wikipedia says, I don't know how true this is, that every Edsel arrived at the showroom with a handwritten note taped to the steering wheel telling what parts were missing. So, but that car is, they estimate that car is one of maybe 25 in the country. For those of you who know Barrett Jackson auction, that car sold at Barrett Jackson. It's funny because after I got it, I bought it from St. Louis Car Museum. And after I got it, I was wanting to get some literature to put on a display book with it at car shows. And it showed I found one that looked just like it, and it said, this car sold at Barrett Jackson for such and such. So and it gave the VIN number of the car. And I came up here, I got a Barrett Jackson car. It sold at Barrett Jackson about 2 years before I bought it. So that's the rarest car that I've got. The other one is a 442, 68 442 convertible. It's what they call a numbers matching car. It's just the way it came off the showroom floor. And all the numbers, the engine has not been changed. Everything is as it was in 1968. And it'll scoot. And it's fun. I've driven it on the Hot Rod Power Tour, which is about a 3,000 mile round trip in June every year, with about 8,000 to 9,000 more cars.
Wow.
And it's a pretty neat thing to see all these cars going down the road. And locals don't like it, but anyway. The Cadillac is also a numbers matching car. I found it in a consignment shop in O'Fallon, Illinois. The owner of it had, as according to the guy who ran the consignment shop, said the guy had dealt with them several times before, and he just kind of fell in and out of love with cars, and he got tired of the Cadillac. I can't imagine that, but anyway, I happened to be skiing in Colorado with my Army roommate, and I had a search engine set up for any time a '59 Cadillac came up for sale, and I have no idea how I set that up because I'm pretty illiterate on computers. But anyway, and when we were out there, this thing showed up for the first time, and I got the notice, and it had about 30 or 40 pictures with it. And I said, if this thing is half as good as it looks, and I got to dump 10 grand into it at the price they're asking, I'd be stupid not to get it. And I couldn't, I said, and I'd also be stupid if I waited till I got back home from the ski trip. So I bought that car sight unseen, on the phone, and faxing stuff back and forth from the hotel, and bought it sight unseen. And when I got it, it looked better than I could have imagined. I had to do nothing to it, nothing. It's just the way I bought it. So the Thunderbird I just got, it's a work in progress. It's not exactly what the dealer told me it was, but it's a '64 Thunderbird convertible. Thing about that year in the convertibles, 64, 65, the back end opens up from the rear, and the convertible top goes down in top, and it's all hydraulics. And there's a hydraulic there's a hydraulic leak somewhere, and I got to find it. So, because when I got it, there was a pool of hydraulic fluid in the trunk. Anyway. Now, the other thing, the most unique car though, is that white one out there. That car was originally ordered and built for a member of the Budweiser family. And he lost it in a card game. They got down to table stakes, and they threw their keys in, and I bought it from the brother of the guy who won it in the card game. I found it in Carson City, Nevada. It's an exact replica of a '39 Jaguar. It's a neat little car. It's built on a Mercury Bobcat, 1971 Mercury Bobcat chassis, 4-cylinder engine. It has air conditioning. That's the only '39 Jaguar you find with air conditioning. But anyway, so it's just kind of a fun little car. But that's, and I have the original check that John Budweiser Smith or whatever, I don't remember what that means, but the Budweiser guy, the original check that he paid for the car, because the guy sent it to me, had all that stuff. So anyway, and that's about it. Anybody got any questions? Yeah.
Hey, Sima, do you send your cars in the motion pictures that happen around here?
Funny you should ask. Yeah. A few years ago, do you know the name Ricky Gunn?
I think so.
He's a local from Phoenix City, country western singer. But anyway, he was doing a music video with one of his songs called King of This Town, which is a story of a high school quarterback who was the king of the town when he was in high school and the quarterback, and he won the games and stuff. In his later years now, he's reminiscing, and it was filmed here and out in Harris County, and it's about the story goes that there's a girl in high school. He was dating a girl, but a new girl came to town who, in this case, happened to be former Miss Alabama, real life now, and she tried to steal him away and yada yada, all that stuff. But anyway, so they were driving they took my car, and I used to have a GTO, it was 4-speed, and I wasn't about to give somebody who didn't know how to drive a 4-speed my car, so they came in and looked, and they said, so they used my 442, which is an automatic, and they invited me one night out on Harris Road to watch filming. And they were filming around the bonfire or whatever, and I got out there, and they'd taken it off-road back in the bushes, which kind of pissed me off, but anyway, and then they were trying to get a shot down the side of the car, but they had parked it near a bush. So everybody pulled out their knives and they're whacking this bush down. And the lighting director threw his branch across the trunk of the car, but with it went his buck knife. And I heard it hit the trunk. And if I hadn't been there, nobody said a word. And so the director of the video said he was good for it, and so I took it to the Helms Brothers body shop, the only ones that let touch that car, and the car had to be painted all the way up to the door jamb because you can't just paint the trunk, and the bill was like $1,900, and Helms Brothers called me and says the guy refused to pay. And so I called him and said, listen, he said, I was expecting 3 estimates. I said, you don't understand. That's a show car, you know. So, and cooler heads prevailed, he paid, but he hadn't called me since. So, and then the Edsel, oh, and if you ever want to look up, it's really a pretty good country song. It's called King of This Town by Ricky Gunn. It's on YouTube, and that's my car, and it shows Miss Alabama driving it. So anyway, but the Edsel, again, this was for a movie called Whitewater, and it wasn't about the river. It's a film about a young black boy growing up in the segregated South, and the white water fountains and the black water fountains. And a guy named Lorenz Tate, who is an A-list actor. He was in Boys in the Hood. I can't think of the other ones, but nice guy. Anyway, they invited me. They filmed a lot of it in Opelika, and they invited me down one day to watch them film and stuff and whatever. It's kind of very nice, very nice. And Lorenz said your car is the show, is a star. But anyway, so it was kind of neat, and I went down and watched them in the afternoon. And it's funny because I drove my GTO down, and when I pulled in, it was primarily a black filming crew and out of LA. And one of them ran up to me and says, man, Snoop Dogg will be all over this. And I have no idea if he knows Snoop, but just as nice as they could be, whatever. So that's the 2 times that it's been on film. One of them, the 442, and one of them, the Edsel. So anything else?
Awesome.
Okay, that's all I got. Stay as long as you want. I live here.
In the garage, Mahal, where memories shine, Kiwanis gather, sharing moments divine. automotive treasures, stories unfold, signposts of laughter, history told. Chick-fil-A feast and sweet tea to sip in this haven of nostalgia, friendship's grip. Sam's curated wonders, each piece a delight. Together we share in the warmth of